Good morning, good afternoon, no matter what time it is. There's always time to interview amazing people doing amazing things within their community. I'm Dr. Lett. This is I'm Dr. Lett, the podcast. This next guest is someone making an incredible impact really across the world. So I'm excited.
Mhm.
Now, without further ado, Jennifer, please just introduce yourself and we're jumping in to inspire the
Mhm.
world.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I know other guests you've had get to explore their career journeys and talk about impact in the world. So to be included with those folks is really important. And I'm really glad I just get to talk a little bit about my career journey and also where I see things going in the country, hopefully, and just for more social good around the world.
Now, starting off, I would love for you to tell us because your career, for many people, it's probably 5 to 6 careers wrapped in one. So tell us about your career journey.
Sure. Yeah. Phew, I'm tired. No, no, actually, working on social change projects actually gives me energy, gives me a lot of fuel because there's hope, right? And you need to put hope into action when you really care about things. So I went to graduate school. First of all, I'm the daughter of Mexican immigrants, and I was raised in the Midwest. I was raised in Illinois. I went on to get my degrees in sociology from Drake University and in a degree in public policy, my master's in public policy from the Hubert H. Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs. And through that training, and again, my passion for equity and inclusion, I went on to start nonprofits, build up nonprofits that served community needs. The first being a Latino youth agency, which was the home of the Minnesota Dream Act. And
Wow.
a lot of activists, others kind of carried on the torch after that. But that's where the initial conversations began in the early 2000s about students having more access to higher education. Students who had grown up here, but for no fault of their own, they needed to have conversation about their status and also the access to higher education in Minnesota. And just really got involved in the community, sitting on boards, being involved in education advocacy. I went on to be a co-director of a statewide organization that did a lot of policy and advocacy work with several communities. And, we, just to be very frank, we had a lot of white educators along in our coalitions, along with African American leaders who had long been saying, we need better behavior policies and more fair and more just policies in the schools for them. And also like Native American communities saying, hey, we don't want our history erased. We want that taught in the schools, all the way to actually passing legislation where we had coalitions of groups, diverse groups that were pushing for higher ed access, and also for
Mhm.
specifically for students of color. But we got to shift higher ed attainment goals in the state so that the state then had to follow and get to strategies that were very particular to each community group. And again, this is for the prosperity of the whole state, but we knew that getting into specific increases per community because of the history of excluding communities in education were necessary. And most recently, I have to tell you a little side note. Just listen to one of my favorite songs by Common is Glory that he does with John Legend. And he goes, justice for all. Well, justice for all is not specific enough. And I think that
Wow.
line is super important in terms of equity work. It's not about taking from other communities, it's to understand the nuances per community to get them on pathways for more education or more jobs.
Wow, I absolutely love that. And that is an incredible lead in to this next question. Now, your career has focused on uplifting others to ensure equitable treatment and opportunities. What fuels your passion for uplifting others?
I think it's the history of how this country has shaped opportunity. We've just celebrated 250th year of the Declaration of Independence, the signing of the Declaration, and this announcement, right, that all men are created equal. Well, every historian, left or right, knows that didn't necessarily mean everyone at the start of the building of the nation. And in fact, there was a history of genocide with Native communities and also obviously the whole history of enslaving people. So we start from a foundation of these high virtuous ideals about equality, and yet we
Mhm.
know it's a country that has, through policy and through specific actions, excluded communities. And there's a lot of debates with historians as to the why or the how, but the reality is that that's what happened. And so I think when I look at all the different action that's been done to include more communities and be fair and representative of everybody who wants to make this country better, that's what's inspired me because I know that there are people came before me of all backgrounds that wanted to make the country more fair. Knowing we had a foundation and these virtuals that all men are created equal and that we should have the ability to pursue our happiness in this country, but it takes some work to adjust that in terms of our public institutions and our public policies.
I, I love it. Loved every word of that. And you and I have talked, before the recording, and you're extremely optimistic about the direction of this country. For the viewers, tell us, where does that optimism come from?
Oh, well, I have very positive, the influence of my family. They're very positive people as far as hoping as immigrants to come here, find opportunity, and be able to educate their children way better than the generations prior because they were raised in Mexico, not a lot of resources, and they did not attend higher education. And so I think that positivity from my family, the joy of, we didn't have a lot, but we could celebrate with mariachi music or the latest Thriller album. I'm talking the 80s here. That kind of music, that kind of background in your family means that you kind of feel like something positive is going to happen, right? If we work hard, if we're good people and good neighbors. And I'll say with all these attacks on immigrants right now, my parents only wanted to be good neighbors. They wanted to be good parents and they wanted to help out those when they could, attend church, send their kids to school, be a part of the local student parent association. And so that's what immigrants really want. I mean, I know there's exceptions, but the majority want to be positive and they want to contribute to this country, like my family.
Yes, and thank you so much for that. Thank you for really believing in supporting one's community, because that's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
My gift to anyone watching this, highlighting these amazing people, the amazing things that they've done professionally, personally, and showing you that Jennifer's someone that she believes in giving back.
Mm-hmm.
That's each and every one of my guests. They believe in giving back because that's what this is all about. And now, Jennifer, as a proud ambassador for the Latino community, how do you envision technological advances, specifically AI, providing the Latinx community with opportunities for growth?
It's just like any other growing workforce area. The whole country is seeing a big shift as far as we went from industrial age to information age, and now we have this AI digital age. And I can see a lot of concerns as far as how that could, because of rules or policies, not be healthy for children, or the data centers might exploit uh, community, like literally the earth, the land, and also resources that our communities need. So there's a lot of issues with that. I also see it like any other industries that there's going to be good and bad, but we still need to inform our communities, and especially the Latino growing community, about what might emerge. First, the safety issues, the policy issues, which is something I've gotten into more recently. But secondly, the opportunities, like if we do handle this technology in a safe and assured way for all of our communities, then what are the opportunities for Latinos to be innovators in tech? And I've been linking up a lot with, there's a Latinos AI Summit. There are innovators of that background creating an AI technology. Just because, again, back to opportunity pathways, anytime I see room for more Latino representation or an understanding of a new field, I'm very interested in that.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for really describing for viewers a way for them to dream about things that may not feel possible. So learning AI, learning how it can help someone grow, that's incredibly important right now. Now, Jennifer, for you, you've been an executive director, school board trainer, senior director of education. What's next for Jennifer? How is Jennifer going to change the world next?
Well, first, you need a lot of rest and you need to take care of yourself. So that's important. So I try to eat better every time I get a chance to eat better. But also, I think really linking up with social change makers from all backgrounds. I think a lot of us have this energy now of building our democracy to be a better place. There's a lot right now about voter education. There's a lot about election protection. And so I'll always be involved in like how we build our democracy to be fair, to be representative of the communities, and to be just. And I think the other area I would love to be involved in is just to continuing to mentor younger people who are either running for public office, are involved in the public policy sector, do research for the public policy sector. So I know you've got your PhD and it's education, EDD, right? Did I get that correct? The
Yes.
EDD. We talked about that. So just like that, like how can I support more, and especially underrepresented groups, because we still have lower percentages compared to other populations of attaining those higher degrees. So I'll always be around like, hey, you want to practice, you connect with me and you're a Latina wanting to get into a master's program, let's connect. I'll tell you what it's like. I can give you some advice about steps to prepare yourself for that curriculum. And again, just like you said, giving back. People did that for me, so we move it forward.
Yes, incredible. Now, you somewhat touched on what I'm about to ask next. What advice would you give to anyone inspired by your journey? They're afraid to take that leap of faith because of political or social uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to be, especially right now politically, to be more cautious about pursuing your education or the career path that you really want in your life because maybe your parents never rode those paths or walk those paths because society is saying, hey, we want to do this to this community or holding people back. You got to stay inspired. I watch a lot of movies and I was talking about music earlier just to stay inspired about what could be, right? My favorite movies is Selena because her family with scrappy, foundation as far as not having a lot of resources, they made it big, and she's still, unfortunately, she's passed on, but she's still an influence in music. I mean, that's amazing, just from her grit, her family support, and the community supporting her. So think of those people that have been through a lot so that you can get through it. There's times where I get a little bit like nervous too. Do I want to do this? What's next? But I reach out to friends, I reach out to colleagues. So you got to just keep yourself inspired and then hope in action actually creates new reality.
Wow. Yes. Now, for anyone watching this, I will always emphasize that mentorship, fostering relationships, that can take you as far as you want it to take you. So when you connect with amazing people,
Mhm.
ensure that you maintain those connections. Now that may look differently. It can be connecting virtually, it can be a cup of coffee, but foster those relationships.
Yeah.
Jennifer, for anyone inspired, motivated, encouraged by this interview, watching you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me really on LinkedIn. I have a Blue Sky account as well in terms of social media. And those are probably the two avenues I would be comfortable kind of sharing as far as reaching out if I've never met you. And then I'll probably share some other ways to contact me. But I'm public there as far as letting people know about some of the projects I've been involved in, ideas I have, and also writing like newsletters for LinkedIn. I have my ideas written out or blog around the future of democracy and building democracy.
Jennifer, this has been incredible. It's been insightful. I've learned so much. We've met a few times. We've stayed connected. We will stay connected.
Mhm.
And so I cannot thank you enough for appearing on my podcast to share your journey with the world. One that, as I've stated, and I don't say this lightly, you've had 5 to 6 careers in one. That's incredible. Now,
Mm.
as we conclude this interview, Jennifer, please tell us what takeaways should viewers leave with?
Oh, that's a great, yeah, just as a summary, I guess. I'm glad you listened to Daughter of Immigrants, so you can hear straight from me. I think I could have done this in Spanish, so gracias por escuchar y ojalá estás aprendiendo español y más gente pueda entender español para tener pláticas con nosotros, los hijos de inmigrantes. I hope more people learn Spanish so they can have conversations with the children of immigrants.
Yes.
And I think just in terms of working hard, when you say about multiple, careers, it's just that I really care about the work of social change and having given the tools through my degree and through a lot of mentorship, I knew that I wanted to run nonprofits. I knew that I wanted to do fundraising for strong programs, training with government workers. That was like an amazing role. That was implementing federal policy in terms of equity. So just going for things that you really want to be involved in. And if you go for things that you really care about, it doesn't feel like a job. And I used to always
Wow.
hear that from family, even that
Mhm.
even folks who are just not necessarily in the academic world or political world, but whatever industry they're in, they're like, you know what, I get every day, and I wake up every day looking forward to working with my team on XYZ. So really be curious and go after things you're very interested in the world, and I think that you'll have a successful job, career, and good way to be on this planet.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been an honor. This
Oh,
concludes an interview for the ages.
thanks so
Thank you.
much.
And please connect with Jennifer. Questions, inspiration, advice, she's available. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.